right, what's up, everybody? Welcome into Sportstopia Fantasy Fire and Ice MLB edition. It's your boy Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, and George Bissell. George, what up with you, my man? Happy Monday.
Oh, it's a Monday for sure. I think I'm still recovering from the whole Taylor Swift experience this weekend. I don't know if I saw the clips enough.
Okay, yeah, no, Taylor Swift was definitely one of the talks of the weekend. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to Taylor Swift or T Sweezy or whatever name she got now, whatever she's going with, hanging out there with Travis Kelce. Listen, we got 4 baseball games to talk about today, so we don't have to be in no big rush. You know what I'm saying? The first one is a makeup game. It's in the Bronx. I want to get into that, and then also today, also on the slate today, the main slate features about 3 games a little bit later on tonight. The Rangers and Angels, Astros and Mariners, and Padres and Giants. But first, let me ask you, my good brother, how are you doing? Are you ready for the MLB season to this is the last week, right? How your season-long leagues doing?
Well, I'll tell you what, it is a marathon, not a sprint, and the baseball season is a grind. It has been a long year. We've been going since spring training, so it feels like the last 6-7 months. You know, it's all that preparation, and then once you hit the start of the regular season, it's just a big scramble. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. So, yeah, feeling pretty good going in the last, few games here. But, we've reached the point in the season where guys who started out in like single A are now like batting cleanup for playoff teams. So
Yeah, for real.
It's a really interesting time. We'll talk about some of those guys on today's show. But, yeah, the playoff races are all tight. There's a lot of crazy scenarios. Like, if one team wins 6 in a row and another team loses 6 in a row, they're in. It's just wild times. So, yeah, it's exciting to get towards the end, though, for sure.
All right. Do we have any weather situations we need to be wary of today?
Not really. The lone one I look at is the one in the situation in New York this afternoon. It looks like the rain's going to clear in time for them to get that in. They're facing Arizona. So that's not a makeup game anyone's looking forward to later on this week with 2 teams that are out. Arizona being, a potential playoff team and then the Yankees being out of it. That's not a game either team wants to reschedule. So my thought is even if there's a light rain, they'll probably play through it, but it should be cleared out in time. And then looking pretty good tonight. Everything else is out on the West Coast late games. So it's pretty easy slate, actually. Only 4 games.
Well, that's not bad. What's going on in the Bronx?
It's not good.
No, it's getting ready to be October, and that's when I like break out the Yankee jacket. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still like the Bronx. It's the Bronx. It's the boogie down. It's late nights. It's the autumn wind. It's home runs. It's strikeouts. Is the house going to be dark in October this year?
Yeah, it's looking that way. I mean, the Yankees pretty much mathematically eliminated at this point. It doesn't look like they're going to finish last. The Red Sox have really gone into a tailspin.
Oh, thank God.
So that's yeah. I'll tell you what, though. You mentioned it. The bright lights. There's nothing like October baseball in New York. There's certain places, New York, Fenway Park, when you get the crowd going and that atmosphere. There's really nothing like it. So to see that team out of the playoffs, that's a real disappointment. But
George, I'll be honest with you, it's not the same in the new stadium.
Oh yeah, no, but
it's not. It doesn't have the same intensity. That old stadium, you coming in winning October, you was a bad mamma jamma. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. I mean, I will say it's the New York crowd, the New York vibes are a little different than I don't want to besmirch anywhere, but like Minnesota, it's fine.
Oh God, no, yeah,
it's not the same. It just doesn't have the
Homer Dome.
Yeah, no more dome there. It's outside.
Yeah.
You're getting to see some cold games there this year.
And that Homer Dome, man, that thing. Can you imagine playing on that surface?
I remember. See, I'm a little younger, so I remember like Kirby Puckett as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, awesome. Like those teams were fun. But
yeah, no, now it's outside and it's not the same. But let's get into it. Matter of any injuries we need to be keeping an eye out for today.
Yeah, so with the shortened slate, Ketel Marte in the early game, he was scratched yesterday with an illness, so that's something to watch. Should be back in the lineup today, but Everson Pereira, the young rookie for the Yankees, has been out 6 of the last 7 games for them. Hurt his leg falling on the dugout steps. We've had a couple of those. Luis Arraez got hurt that way this week, so I don't know if that's like a safety
shenanigans. Yeah,
he did that. Miami. I guess they dimmed the lights for their closer to come in, and he fell down the steps because he couldn't see. I mean, that's just a freak thing, but that's definitely I've always wondered about that. You'd think something would happen in those situations.
Oh, I can 100% see that happening at City Field. To like the Mets go sign an ace, you know what I'm saying? And then like
Yeah.
the first day he tumble down the stairs.
Yeah, it's yeah, you can't even make this stuff up. So we've had a couple of those. I mean, this was a season of weird injuries. Obviously, it started with, like you said, with the Mets, with Edwin Diaz getting hurt in the World Baseball Classic, celebrating.
Oh
So
yeah, that's right. I
there's
forgot
there's been
about
a
that.
couple of these. So the Marlins actually can make the playoffs. So it's a real impactful injury. They have an off day Monday, but we'll see what his status is for Tuesday. But yeah, nothing too crazy on the injury front. The Angels are pretty much done, so there's nothing there. The Rangers got a couple guys back healthy last week, so they're looking pretty good. And then Houston, Seattle, everybody's good. And same thing with San Diego and San Francisco. The only risk I would say with San Diego is Manny Machado's been dealing with that elbow issue. They haven't been mathematically eliminated. So he said once they are, he'll undergo surgery. That hasn't happened yet, but he's been tending to get some days off just to kind of make sure he can keep playing. So that's something to watch in the late game slate.
Mira, papi, it hurt. I gotta go. We out the playoffs. I gotta go.
Basically, he's not the first flight out of the second thing
Mira, okay,
eliminated.
it's over. All right, I see you tomorrow.
He had a 2-homer game over the weekend against the Dodgers. He's had some really nice games of late. So when he's in the lineup, he's been productive. But it sounds like he's definitely going to need surgery, and it's going to happen as soon as possible.
No good, Poppy. All right, let's get to it. Diamondbacks and Yankees. If we don't even do it DFS, we could do a little prize pick underdog type talk. Merrill Kelly and Clark Smith. The Yankees. Oh, the Yankees are big. This game was, when I looked at this online this morning, the Yankees were actually the underdog. Now the Yankees are a minus 110 favorite. Clark Smith and Merrill Kelly. The total on this one sitting at 7.5. 1:05 p.m. Eastern time start in the Boogie Down Bronx.
Yeah, so I think these are always tough when you look at the early afternoon games. They tend to favor pitchers, in my opinion. So I actually like Kelly in this spot. It's a good matchup for him. But Clark Schmidt struggled of late. I wouldn't be as optimistic, going with him. These are tough because you want to say like getaway day, like everybody's just trying to.
Yeah, I mean, especially the last Monday of the season. I know everybody's like, man, please can we get this over with?
And the stakes are higher for Arizona, so I think there's a tendency for them to be like locked in and engaged in this start, and then you have the Yankees who are just like kind of looking forward to the golf course. So
yeah,
I tend to lean Arizona here. I think they're Kelly's going to pitch well. He's had a lot of success this season. He's been one of the main reasons they're looking at potentially making the playoffs. So I would go, over on strikeouts for him. He's had, at least 6 or 7 in his last 4 starts. So I definitely would lean Kelly here as the better option.
One time we used to do this thing, me and my man, the King, Scott Angle, we used to do this thing called Roto Experts at the Park. So we would go to, to the stadium, Citi Field, Yankee Stadium, talk to the players, scout, interview them. It was a time, to be honest with you, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Shout out to the King, Scott Angle. And I remember one time the Yankees had already clinched, and they would come. It was like this weekend. It was like this week, coming down towards the end, right? And what ended up happening was the players were in the clubhouse. I ain't gonna say what players, but they was in the club. They was like, "Yo, listen! As soon as the season end, they was on a flight, like a private jet, to Miami, and they was going to come back the morning of the playoff game." So you know what I'm saying? They still was going to get it in. Miami, the Playboys' paradise, so they go down there and spend up all that money. You know what I'm saying? But so yes, next week at this time, it's going to be some of your favorite players, some of your favorite teams is going to the postseason. It's going to be in Miami to get that last little weekend rest before they get out and hunker down for the MLB postseason.
Yeah, definitely. And both of these teams are getting on a plane after this game. The Diamondbacks are going to Chicago to play the White Sox, another team that's out of it. So they need to take care of business this week if they're going to make the playoffs. And then the Yankees are going to Toronto. So that is not an ideal trip. So you always get those look ahead type of games. And, there aren't any actual props. I'm looking on Prize Picks and on Underdog right now because I was looking at a lot of these earlier, and all the props for the pitchers are basically in the late game. So I think they know, like, hey, this one's going to be tough to forecast. So there's a lot of stuff I like in the later games, but this one's kind of, to me, just like it feels like a 2-1 game where both teams are just trying to get out of there.
George, you a big Miami guy? Big go to South Beach and hang out guy?
I wish that
Yeah.
would be great. You know, I understand. If let me put it this way: if I were a professional athlete, I understand why you want to go play in Miami. I get
Yeah,
it.
no doubt. I
I'd
haven't
rather
been to
be there
Miami.
than the north. So
Yeah, I feel you. I haven't been to
in the
Miami in
cold.
years. I'm an old man now, George. Texas Rangers. This main slate now. Texas Rangers, the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Real talk though. Texas a -180 favorite on the road. John Gray versus Patrick Sandoval in this one right here.
Yeah.
Total
So
is 9. Nice high total in this one too.
right. So obviously the big story here is the Texas Rangers. They are right now in the driver's seat in the American League West, if you can believe that. I mean,
How
it's
about
been
that?
crazy. The Mariners have just gone into this huge tailspin. They've lost 6 of their last 10. The Astros have lost 7 of their last 10, including 3 in a row. So the Rangers actually, just by playing 500 baseball, have gotten back into the divisional
Amazing.
race. All 3 of these teams are separated by half a game. So this is an important one. They need to come out. I think they're going to be motivated. And Patrick Sandoval for the Angels, he's one of the most unlucky pitchers in baseball. This is a guy who has, the stuff to be a real upper echelon type of strikeout artist, but the defense behind him has been so poor. He's given up a ton of unearned runs this year. So I think if you're looking at like stacking options for DFS, this is probably the one spot you can do it where you can kind of go in and you'll see the hitters on the bottom of the screen here. Guys like Marcus Semien, Josh Young, Adolis Garcia, right-handed hitters against lefties there. Even a guy like Corey Seager, he's not terrible against left-handed pitching, so you can go with him. Evan Carter, their young rookie, and this is what I was talking about kind of earlier in the show. He has stepped up and been phenomenal for them. He's a left-handed batter, so we'll see if he's in the lineup tonight, but he's homered 3 times in his last 4 games. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. And one of the props for today is Patrick Sandoval, 2.5 earned runs allowed. I'm taking the over on that, and that's on Underdog. So that's one of my 5. That's going to be in the article that's up on Sportstopia. I think that one, the Rangers are going to score runs tonight. I'm pretty confident in that.
All right, there you go. Rangers on a 5-game winning streak, playing good baseball, coming down the stretch right now, and that's a stack that we can get behind tonight. Don't forget, Sportstopia.io headquarters site is now live. You can go over there, read George's article. I see my man Chris got some stuff up there. It's plenty of NFL stuff. Rankings going down as well over there, so make sure you get on over there and definitely download that optimizer 7-day trial, right, for $1. Give it a test drive. Might as well go ahead and sign up all together because if your man, the dude is the founder, Daryl, he hit the Millie Maker the other night, but he had to share it with like 100,000 people. But still, if you didn't hit it, you know what I'm saying? So you need to go on there and hop on that optimizer. I'm not talking about you, George, but the people in general. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I saw that. That was pretty awesome. And the optimizer is great. I love just going in there and kind of messing around because everybody has like their 1 or 2 like picks that they think are unique and they want to try to, fit in. So I like to use the optimizer to kind of build the structure, the foundation of the lineup I want to use, and then kind of go, build off of that and move forward. So that's how I like to use it. So it's really great. And obviously it's working. It's winning right now.
No doubt. It definitely is. And it's a contrarian optimizer too. So tonight, 9:40 p.m. Eastern time start. Seattle Mariners are a 135 favorite at home versus the Houston Astros. Justin Verlander and Louis Castillo. Verlander did last longer than Aaron Rodgers in New York, but still the outcome was similar.
I don't know how much of that's Verlander's fault. Remember, he was hurt to start the year, so I don't totally blame him. He's pitched pretty well for the Astros, been about league average. But the nice thing is he's gone deep into starts. He's completed at least 6 innings in 4 straight starts. He hasn't faced the Mariners this season, so I think there's an opportunity here for everybody looking at props. One of them on both Underdog and Prize Picks, they have the same number for Verlander and strikeouts tonight. 6.5. I actually really like the over on this because the Mariners have struck out. I think it's the second most in baseball this season, behind only the Twins.
Nice.
So, and they're not super great against right-handed pitching either. They do have some lefty bats that you got to worry about, but not a ton. So I think this is a good spot for Verlander to go deep into this game, and I think he ends up hitting that number. despite the fact he hasn't had a ton of strikeouts this year. I just think the Mariners are one of those teams that tend to swing and miss a lot. So this is a good spot for him. I like that number at 6.5.
I think they're going to do in the postseason.
It's tough because they're relying on a lot of guys who haven't been those like core. You think of the Astros, you think of Altuve, Bregman, Michael Brantley, Yordan Alvarez, and they kind of have these younger guys who are trying to get into more prominent roles. This guy Yainer Diaz, a catcher, Jas McCormick's had 20 homers this year as an outfielder, but it feels like there's this bit of like tension where they're not part of the core yet, but they should be. So you kind of wonder if those guys step up in the postseason and some of their young pitchers perform well, guys like Hunter Brown, Christian Javier, who was big for them a year ago. If those guys step up and produce, I think they could go deep into the playoffs. But, you never know. That's the thing with the small samples in October. Anything can happen. But they're one of the most talented teams in baseball for sure. They should be there at the end in the American League.
Seems like they're there every year. The team in the Bronx isn't, though. All right, San Diego Padres, San Francisco Giants, little West Coast action to end tonight. San Diego comes in as a minus $1.20 road favorite in this one. Blake Snell on the mound versus Logan Webb. Blake Snell is a very good pitcher. That total was good and low at 7. Got that big, spacious ballpark out there. What are we looking at from this game right here between these two West Coast teams?
Yeah, I mean, this another one, like you said, the vibes here. For Snell, this is a chance to lock up the Cy Young Award here. It's probably his last start. There's a chance he gets the ball this weekend, but you never really know what those things will really depend on where the Padres are in the playoff race. They might be out of it. He might get shut down. So this might be his last start of the year, and it's a good spot. San Francisco is a lefty-heavy lineup. They don't have a ton of right-handed bats that scare you. Wilmer Flores for them has been dealing with a little bit of an injury issue as well. He's been a little banged up. One of their better right-handed bats. So there's a chance he doesn't play tonight. So I think there's a big strikeout total looming here for Blake Snell. And when you look at the number, this is in the prize picks column I have for today. 7.5 is the total there. I think he hits the over pretty easily there.
Okay.
Giants just not a good lineup against right-handed pitching. They don't have a ton of right-handed bats. So I think the over is there for him. And then on the other side, Logan Webb, it's kind of – it feels like one of those spots where he's going to pitch well just because he kind of has to. There's so many aces going tonight, and he's maybe getting the ball for the last time. His strikeout number is 4.5 on Underdog and Prize Picks. So I kind of feel like he gets that tonight because the Padres are another team that tends to strike out a lot. So, yeah, I would go with the over on both of those, and that's where I lean. I know I've done a lot of overs tonight.
Yeah, no, it happens, but you know what I'm saying? It feels like, it could be some runs scored tonight. Right. A good breakdown, like you said, some of those free swinging teams and some of those pitches with Snell trying to lock down that Cy Young and Verlander trying to get into groove and stuff like that going into the postseason. So, no, I completely get it.
Yeah, so I'll give an under because I do have an under for the day. I think that's Luis Castillo, 6 strikeouts. I'm going to take the under there. Huh?
Yeah,
he's facing the Astros against Justin Verlander. He's faced them twice this season. He hasn't faced them since July, but he has 8 strikeouts total in 14 innings. So the Astros, they don't strike out a lot. I think they have one of the bottom 5 in terms of strikeouts this year. So it's a lot of guys who make a ton of contact. And Castillo, he's had 8 strikeouts in 3 straight starts. So I think people are gonna think he's gonna continue that trend, but I don't think he gets there tonight. The Astros are a tough lineup to face.
Hey, but remember before everybody was talking about Ohtani. What was the cat for the Padres that was supposed to be the baseball savior? I feel like this was only 2 years ago.
I'm trying to think here. You're talking about Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Yeah, Fernando Tatis. What happened to Tatis? What happened? Why the Padres supposed to be nice and Tatis is supposed to be Ohtani? What's going on? The people at baseball sellers, they only last a season.
Yeah, I mean, he's still wildly talented. He had a PED suspension that took him out. He was recovering from surgery. He had a shoulder issue that knocked out. He basically didn't play last year. So they went out and got Juan Soto. I mean, that's like we've been talking about all year. It feels like, star-studded lineup, but they just have not gotten it together this year. Still a chance for them to get in the playoffs, though.
All right, so there you go right there. All right, quick little breakdown, short slate today. You know what I'm saying? George, thanks a lot for your expertise and advice. Don't forget Sportstopia.io is the website. It's live right now. Go hit that up. Download the Contrarian Edge Optimizer while you're over there for my man George. and the lovely and talented Heather Klein. It's your boy Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. See you next week.